This is going to be a 1 versus 1 between KrazyFlyinChicken and the Titan. This system, though, says the Titan. Have a look at it. It's a generic metal planet. Curious. Not symmetrical. This is going to be certainly curious to see how this balances out. Hopefully we'll see maybe a spawn in this region and one in here. Maybe? I don't know. This is really difficult to tell where the spawns are. And actually this harkens back to the times when PA was merely not symmetrical planets. So this is really nice to see, actually. So, as the player's now jumping in, let's have a look at where they have spawned. So, on the northern hemisphere here, we have the Titan in gunmetal grey going bots first with only a single mech spawn. Ew, that's not very nice. Meanwhile, on the south spawn, though, we have KrazyFlyinChicken with 3 mechs and an air factory. So, I feel as though air first and bot first are both viable openings. Bot first, of course, is good because Titan doesn't have much metal around him, so he'll be able to use the combat fab reclaim strat to boost his early game metal. But he will have to play strongly for an expansive game here because he just has to. He needs to get into this main middle ring here, and he needs to get into the southern hemisphere ideally as well. Air Scout's coming out already from KrazyFlying. Firefly already going and seeing where the spawn is, so that's really good news for KrazyFlying. He knows exactly where his opponent is. He knows the paths that he's going to be taking to get to his opponent. Meanwhile, of course, Titan does not know. Likewise. Meanwhile, KrazyFlying, looking at how his expansions can work out, he's got 3 on a neighbouring, 5 on a neighbouring, and then straight off into the middle, so obviously he's going to be wanting to use air fabs to do that. Given he went air first, he's got 2 air fabs out at the moment. Idle Commander, though, he wants to be getting up, I was going to say power in order to maintain the air fabs, because they draw a fair bit of power. Minus 800 power, which is quite a substantial power draw there for a fabricator. Of course, they are air fabs, so that's your trade-off. There's only 600 for a bot. So looking at the expansions for Titan to see how they balance, you got 6 on this side and 2 on that side. So kind of balanced there, but the spawns are definitely uneven. So if Titan manages to pull this one back, it'll be a testament to him there. He's got the combat fab out doing the reclaim, so we'll start to see him get, instantly there. 30 metal boost, that's what a combat fab gives you early game. 30 metal. And actually, while a lot of people, I've been talking to Admiral General and KrazyZipko about the combat fab build and what it allows you to do. Yes, it allows you to rush T2, but also it allows you to spawn away from your initial metal and use your commander to build factories and power generators while your fabricators build your metal, because at that point you won't be stalling metal anyway because you're getting an influx of 30 via your combat fab. Meanwhile, let's have a look at a few troop movements. We've finally got some docks out into the middle band there. We've got some coming out from Titan as well. Going to have a few minor skirmishes here, nothing too fancy. The big thing for Titan at the moment is to be able to scout these air fabs. I don't think Titan knows where KrazyFlyinChicken's spawn is, unless of course they know that they're going to be opposite each other-ish. Though that's not necessarily true. He has a fairly good idea. He sees some air stationed around here. He sees a bomber. Will he be able to take it down, though? Well, Hummingbird comes in. Doesn't manage to nab the bomber, though. But he does see an air fab. He sees an air fab, and as a result, he may play a little heavier on the air game. Rushing T2, though. Vehicles. Interesting. We're going to see levelers and shellers, no doubt. Shellers are really good on metal planets because they can just fire over the trench crossings there. Having a look at KrazyFlying's base, though, still sitting on 2 factories. He probably wants to get out another factory now. He's got quite a number of P-gens for his large number of air fabricators. Now, the interesting thing about these air fabricators is because they can expand so far and wide so fast, is that KrazyFlying is going to have a huge metal advantage over Titan regardless of the spawn differential, simply because of the expansions. Hummingbird coming in. Will it take down the air fab? No, it doesn't. The air fab gets away. That's crucial. Hummingbird still scouting to see what's going on. KrazyFlying knows he needs to take this Hummingbird down in order to save his air fabricators. In the meantime, though, he's still got some docks moving around to try and defend his expansions. Titan pushing on his expansions. Titan now almost halfway through. In fact, he is halfway through, 60% of the way through his T2 vehicles. He's obviously rushing that up. He's got 3, 4 fabs and a commander. He wants that thing completed. He wants the T2 fabricators. He wants the eco, and he wants to be pushing with units very, very soon indeed. He's got some nice docks around, and Titan is actually really good at his harassment. It's something that I've been watching him in a few games recently. His harassment is on point, it has to be said. But KrazyFlying is trying to establish a few defensive positions around his expansions. Not entirely sure they'll go hugely according to plan. Again, Titan raiding from all different directions. This is good. I feel as though Titan needs to go a little heavier into the air game. Maybe a second air factory. Of course, KrazyFlying sitting on 2 air factories. Titan will therefore need 2 in order to contest the air game and support his vehicles and bots moving forward. And again, he needs to raid some of these air fabs. I mean, he's taking down the mechs, which is a good start, but taking out the air fabs will stem the flow greatly. Actually, at this point, KrazyFlying going all out on bot fabs. So he's going to be using a lot of fabricator power in order to build energy. And metal storage, yeah, he knows he's floating, he's bumping up a little bit of storage. He doesn't really want to be floating, but at this point he really needs power in order to be putting up a few more factories. Going for sparks in order to counter docks. They're going to be pretty active on these choke points, no doubt. Again, Bumblebee's doing work. Unfortunately, unable to save these 5 mechs there. T2 vehicles finally up. Vehicle fabricator finished and idle. Second one coming out. We'll probably want to see T2 power first, ideally. Come on, Titan. He's probably a bit too busy doing a bit of micro between all of his docks groups at this point. He's got so many smaller ones moving around. And at the same time, he also wants to be trying to take out some of these airfabs. Look at this. The airfab's just like, hello, and running off somewhere. Oh, okay. But, yeah. I mean, he's just having an omnipresence, rather, with these docks, and that's really good to see. Finally transitioning into vehicles, though, and that'll pack the punch on these raids, and it'll also help support the docks against these sparks. Vehicles are good against sparks, of course. Although sparks in a good number are reasonably good against vehicles in their own right, simply because they can take a couple of hits. T2 vehicles coming out from KrazyFlying now. So he'll be answering that. Does KrazyFlying know about Titan's T2 vehicles? He does not. Does Titan know about KrazyFlying's T2 vehicles? He does not, so neither player knows that T2 is a thing just yet. Looking around on the backside of the planet, though, just continual expansion. Getting some nice scouting going off. Attempted raiding. Will it get up before the turrets? No. That raid is denied. Really good defensive placements around expansions there, securing those 5 mechs for KrazyFlying. Really well played. On the front now, though, we're starting to see the larger groups of units now, going more from harassment and raiding into assault forces. Unfortunately, though, the air game from KrazyFlying is still strong at this point. I say strong, I mean relatively speaking. With one Bumblebee, you can hardly call that strong, but when there isn't anything from your opponent to deny it, then, you know, it's all against nothing, so that's pretty damn strong. And of course the assault force from blue will now be able to push through that, no questions asked. Levelers are coming out now, Levelers are coming out now, though, from both teams. These units here, if they get in and scout this T2 vehicles, that'll be pretty decent for Titan. Although at this point, while he can scout the factory, he might not necessarily be able to do anything about it, but at least knowing about it is important. Double T2 factory. If he goes in and sees this, now that will be important. Will he see it? Let's have a look. He sees a commander. Does he see the factories? He sees one. He sees it almost complete. He sees a fabber. Was he paying attention, though? That's the question. Does his air now move into the base to get the full scout? We'll keep an eye on that in Le Pip, so we can see that going on. Meanwhile, though, see the air forces from blue moving around. Keeping Black's Air Force at bay. Levelers finally coming out now, though. They need to push forward, I feel, with some shellers. I think shellers are the way to go on this map, personally. Metal Planet trench crossings are a nightmare. Especially if you have anything that does any form of area damage or a large enough army that you can just rush things down. This force here, though, getting some free pot shots off on some metal extractors. Really nice there. And unfortunately, it would seem as though Titan did not get a scout. Has he got... Oh, he's got a Firefly sat under a Bumblebee. Okay. I was thinking, what's going on there? Meanwhile, though, let's go back to all view. Getting some T2 defences up from KrazyFlying. 3 levelers here. Probably a little bit outgunned on the surround. They will be taken down. Titan now realising, perhaps I should get into the air game here. Going for 5 total air factories. Okay, he's going all out on this air game. He wants to surprise KrazyFlying and get that air game back in check. Was the scout real from Titan on those 2 vehicle factories? No, so it's only the 1. The air coming over, though. He might have just seen it. No, he didn't! He still didn't, but he saw the... Oh my goodness, that power field. That energy field there, though. If he can get some locusts or something... I mean, yes, it would be an investment to go into T2 bots, but locusts... Locusts here. Yes, they'd have to get through the choke points, but... That power field disappears. 5 locusts in there, that power field is gone. Absolutely destroyed. KrazyFlying doing a good job at raiding now. The economy game's still very much squarely in KrazyFlying's hands. Second T2 vehicle factory up from Titan. He's going to be able to produce even more levelers there, of course. A 3rd one. Wow, okay. Having a look at the army tab, though, what do we see? Equal numbers. Factories, though, favouring Titan. Titan in the economy game, though, still behind, but he's not floating quite so hard, so at this point, Titan has the advantage. KrazyFlying is failing to make use of all his economy. Titan, though, struggling a little bit on metal, and that's because of all the raiding that KrazyFlying's done. Look at all this destroyed metal over here. Really nice placement of turrets. And at this point, Titan really needs to get back into the expansion game. And this is actually something that I notice a lot from Titan, is that he's good at harassing and raiding expansions, but he falls back when you raid his. He fails and neglects to replenish his own expansions. Nice hit on a T2 Faber there. Shellers coming out from KrazyFlying, as anticipated. No shellers yet from Titan. But yeah, Titan, I find, does back into a corner and sort of fail to keep up on the expansion and harassment game going mid to late game. I played against him myself in a recent tournament, and while at that point he's improved a lot since then, even then I noticed that after I'd raided his expansions a few times, they didn't bother coming back, so... That having been said, the air game, though, for Titan is beginning to materialise. He's got a lot of hummingbirds there. That's certainly 16, 26, 32, 34, plus increasing. So, going to be able to start contesting the air game. We'll start to see some bumblebees coming out from him. The caution, though, is T2 vehicles, you have the capability to build the storms. And of course, with the capability to build the storms, you have the capability to wreck air completely. These levelers, though, need to be kiting a little bit better than they have been. They feel as though they can push in, though, and I think that's the right choice here. They can take down that sheller. They won't be able to push in entirely, though. But they did stem the flow of that force. The next force is ready from Titan, though. Even though he is struggling a little bit on metal, it's not too bad. So he's still being able to produce at a decent efficiency. It's not too bad. There we go, back into 100%. So I think that's because of a bit of T2 economy that he's getting up. So that's really helping him out there. Don't forget that each T2 metal point gives you 20 metal, and so a T2 metal point with a T1 gives you 27. In total, 27 metal per fully harnessed metal extraction point. Unfortunately, though, Titan's pushes all seem to go as the crow flies, and at this point, perhaps it's going to be an idea to divert different forces in different locations. Having a look at KrazyFlying's base expansion, though, we've got boombots. Potential boombot snipe this commander is very, very open indeed. We could see boombots. Has KrazyFlying scouted that commander? With the production of boombots, it is possible. However, boombots are also a very good counter to levelers and vehicles. So that may be KrazyFlying's plan in this instance. Of course, if he does get the scout on the commander, he will be able to see that it's very open indeed, with very little defense. There are a number of docks floating around, but none really stationed by the commander, and when there's boombot threat, the moment you realise there's a boombot threat on the map, you need to have docks stationed by your commander at all times. Docks are basically the boombot shield. This force here, though, this engagement will go in favour of KrazyFlying, certainly if he kites. Levelers taking a while to turn their turrets around. Struggling a little bit. Boombot's coming in, though. Now, this is exactly the thing. Taking down these forces, getting into the middle, doing a bit of splash damage. And now the docks can move in, outnumbering the levelers a little bit, soaking up a bit of the damage while the levelers and tanks move in from the rest of KrazyFlying's forces. Doing some really good micro there. Really good unit control, and KrazyFlying can now push in a little bit further. He's going to need a few more boombots, though, to deal with this next force. Perhaps a few more shellers in the mix there as well. Might be about time that we start to see some artillery entrenchments. Maybe some pelters or Hulkins. Having a look around the back, we still have the air game from Titan. A little bit slow. Still need more bumblebees, though. More bumblebees, Titan. Air fabricators coming out, though. What are they building? Just a P-gen field moving into T2 air, of all things. That's interesting. Maybe we'll see some worms, or perhaps even some Kestrel gunships. You don't see T2 air very often. We do have T2 air out from KrazyFlying, though. I didn't see this go up. My apologies. But it is complete. Kestrel's coming out. I think the reason Titan's queued up T2 air is because he has scouted that, and of course in this engagement he will know full on that there is T2 air there. But my goodness, the trading there! Flak almost complete. He doesn't want to be flying over that when the flak is there and ready. Thing is, though, there's flak all around the rest of the base, so the chance for KrazyFlying to make some base bombing raids is over. More boombots, though. 4 bot factories producing those. They're just going to be a constant threat for these vehicle forces. Sparks at the front, soaking up a bit of damage, doing a bit of area damage, though. Although with the levelers it becomes less of a potent thing that Sparks are doing. Boombots coming in. Nice defense there. They don't necessarily want to move in against this Docks force, because they will get gobbled up. Yeah, backing off, ideally, there. Have we got radar from KrazyFlying? Only T1, I fear. Oh, it is T2. T2 radar in his base, so he can see most of the troop movements here. Backing his boombots off is a good idea at this point. So really, what are the players' options at this point in the game? A nuke. I wouldn't necessarily have said nukes, but go on by all means. He's got 500 mechs and 48k power. So as long as he starts focusing that down, we could see a nuke soon. The key thing here is for KrazyFlying to keep that from being scouted. If he prevents that from being scouted, then Titan's going to be in for a rough night. A rough morning. So the omnipotent air game here. Going to be trading again. This time in favour of KrazyFlying. Titan perhaps needs some more air factories. He's going to be starting on his T2 shortly. Hummingbirds finally congregating in the middle, though. Coming up to defend his air fabs. He needs those to stay alive in order to build that T2 air. And he manages to successfully keep them alive. Well played there. Still, the nuke missile launcher, though, is almost complete. The missile, of course, still has to be built. And so we'll keep that in picture there. That is the big play at this point in the game. KrazyFlying just needs to prevent that from being scouted. If he can get that nuke up and prevent it from being scouted, then, well, there's a already half-dead commander here. He's not going to survive a nuke to the face. Looking at Titan's movements, he's not too bothered about scouting the base at this point, so KrazyFlying is actually at a really good advantage here. He's got himself in a really good defensive position, he's using his boombots really well in all of these trades. He's got some nice anti-air positions all around the base, so Titan is reluctant to go in and scout, because Titan knows that it's an anti-air capable base. He doesn't want to lose his air game at this point. And that missile's going up pretty quickly, already almost 30%. Perhaps see an extra Faber or two move on to that, might be a good idea. Titan just does not know that this is a thing, so he doesn't know to build an anti-nuke, and if he doesn't know to build an anti-nuke, he won't know to build that, and then he'll have to build the anti-nuke missile, all before that nuke is ready, and at this point, when the nuke is at 50%, and you haven't even scouted it yet, you should be seriously worried. But of course, how are you going to be worried if you don't know that it exists? The problem that Titan's having is he's just not able to get through KrazyFlying's defences. The air comes in though, trying to defend the levelers, but only too late. Will it go into the base and scout? No, it backs off. It knows he doesn't necessarily want to trade at this point. He's got nothing else to push forward and protect, so he doesn't need to trade. And so the nuke, approaching 3/4 completion, is going to get finished, and it is going to hit home. The question is, will it hit the commander, and if not, how much damage will it do to Titan's capabilities? Because still, the problem that Titan is having, again, is that he just cannot get through KrazyFlying's defences, and KrazyFlying is playing really defensively, gradually establishing more and more map control with entrenchments like this, and that's just the ideal play for a metal planet like this. Certainly in a 1v1. Nuclear missile almost complete now, though. 95. 96, 97. 98. The nuke is ready. Where will it fire now, though? We need the scout. Is it just going to fire straight into the main spawn blindly? Is KrazyFlying going to start scouting with his air? That's the thing that we need here. Going from KrazyFlying's view, he's got the Firefly. Here's the scout. Where will he find the commander? When he sees that commander, he is going to pop that nuke so very fast. He's waiting. He wants to find that comm. He sees a forward couple of T2. He doesn't necessarily want to fire on that. Yes, he sees T2 factories, but he knows the commander. No, he's firing on the factories, perhaps. Where is he firing that nuke? I think it's on the factories. He could have got a commander snipe here. The nuke is away. Yes, it's going for all these T2. Oh, he's going to be really disappointed if he manages to find the commander. He hasn't managed to find the commander. And so here, we'll stem the flow of T2 forces immensely. Plonked right on the field. Titan knows that because the nuke is real, the GGs are there. The GG is called. He knows he's been out-expanded. He knows he's been outplayed. He cancels the GG. I was going to say, it was a bit of a premature GG because that nuke did not do very much damage at all. He saw the nuke coming in and thought, oh, that's going for my commander, and called the GG prematurely. In fact, it only took out a couple of T2 power and a couple of T2 factories. Those are easily replenished. The problem for him now is, though, the next nuke is almost finished. The next one is going to be the GG guaranteed, if he hasn't GG before then. Can he get into KrazyFlying's base, though? He's still struggling. It's just such good defense from KrazyFlying, and it's just a race against time at this point for Titan. Really nice defense there on those. He's blocking, not even allowing... Yeah, I think you still have this, mate, says Titan. So we're not going to see a second nuke. Titan knows when he's beaten. Wow. Aggressive defense, I think, is the strat. Yeah. Aggressive defense. Will we see the second nuke just for posterity going? I want to see another nuke. Just hit that commander in the face. I want to see it! Nuke is ready. Is it going to go into the heart of the base? Hopefully yes, please. We'll see the air game trade there. Finally, KrazyFlying keeping up with the air game. Oh dear. There goes the nuke. Where's it going? I don't think he scouted the... Oh, no, I think he did. No. Yeah, I think he did. Looking at that nuke, maybe? Well, we'll have to see. Says the nuke does come in now, though. We'll follow it. Yeah, that one's going for the commander. We'll see the GG here. Down it goes. Smack right in the face. Crazy Flying takes the win. Well played. Well played indeed from both teams. I kind of liked how that map played. I think it would have been better if the spawns were even, but having an asymmetrical planet is certainly something that I would like to see more of. We just need, again, more even spawns. I don't think, however, it was the spawn disparity that lost the game for Titan there. I think what lost the game was that he didn't keep up his raiding, he didn't keep up his scouting, and he didn't keep up his expansion and replenishment of that expansion. I feel perhaps as though, as well, he didn't necessarily adapt his strategies. He just kept going headlong into the same turret defense. These turrets must have racked up something like 50, 60 kills. Insane. Insane turret placement there. Really, really well played. Ah, do they have the AA? They have a storm! They have a storm! The air... There goes the air. And now this force is a real hazard for this commander. He needs to get himself out of dodge. Oh my goodness, that storm. I mean, that storm wasn't the main reason for that, but... Blue just had the right unit comp, and Black didn't have the numbers. The Boombot snipe is real. Down goes that comm. Saving the units as well. Now they can push in. It just took out a whole bunch of power. Still floating on it though, so it's not too bad. Black are still in the pond though. They're just pinged saying that's where their last commander is. So they still have free reign over this base. That's the problem with going so heavy air when someone builds a storm, because you need to have land units to be able to deal with it.